Hello everyone, this is Ravinder Dundra and welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about class 9 CBSE Geography chapter number 4, that is climate. In the previous lectures about this chapter, we have discussed about chapter number 2, that is physical features of India, and this year the latest syllabus given by the CBSE chapter number 3, that is drainage, has been removed from the syllabus and it is only for this map pointing purpose. Therefore, we are discussing this chapter number 4, that is climate. And as you all know that most of the people, they confuse between two words, that is climate as well as this weather. So sometimes people what they do is that they interchangeably use these two words. Instead of climate they use weather, instead of weather they use climate. Sometimes people just by seeing the present present situation, atmospheric condition, what they say is that the climate is so hot or the climate is so cool, but it is not the right word to use that. So therefore, what is the difference here when we should use this climate, when we should use this weather? So let us discuss in detail about that. So first we will discuss about this climate. What do you mean by this climate? Climate means, simply you can say, the average weather condition of an area for a long period of time. Simply you can say average weather condition of an area for a long period of the time. Then how much long it is? It is somewhere around more than 30 years. That means continuously what is the weather condition, average weather condition of a particular area over a long period. Long period means here it is somewhere around 30 to 40 years of time period. But what is this weather? So weather means it is the state of atmospheric condition of an area at any particular point of time. That means you can say the day to day or hour to hour atmospheric conditions, we can call it as this weather. Suppose the weather is hot, you can use that it is hot, the weather is hot. Suppose it is sunny or it is raining or it is foggy. So you can use the present situation by describing with the word known as weather. That means suppose it is very hot, you can say the weather is very hot. Suppose it is raining, you can say the weather is raining. Or suppose it is what is that, there is a fog, you can say it is foggy. Like that, if you want to describe the present situation of the atmosphere, we should use this weather. So that is why the definition also says that it is the state of the atmospheric condition of an area at any particular point of time, maybe in this minute, in this hour, in this day. But if it is for a long period of time, maybe for 40 years or 30 years, then we use this word known as this climate. So hope this is clear. What is that? Climate means basically the average weather condition. Maybe since last 30 years the climate is very hot, for example. Therefore we can say that the climate is so hot over the last 30 to 40 years. But at this moment, in this present situation, if it is very cold, means you can say that the weather is very cold. So this is what the difference between this weather and climate. But one common thing is there in both climate as well as weather. So what are these common things are that? The main common elements of weather and climate are, one is temperature and atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity, as well as this precipitation. Hope all these terms you might have already learned in your lower standards. So these are some of the common elements in both climate as well as weather. And sometimes whatever the weather condition we experience, it may stay for sometimes 1 week, a month, or sometimes 2 to 3 months. So if the weather condition is continuously there for 1 month or 2 months, depending upon that weather condition, we have different seasons. For example, you know that we have summer season. Suppose if we face continuous high temperatures, hotness for a 2 or 3 months, we can say that as a summer season. And suppose if it is cold for long period of time, maybe for 2 to 3 months, we can call it as this winter. In the similar way, the rainy season. So like this, if this weather condition is continuously existing for a long period, long in the sense maybe a week or a month or even sometimes more than 1 month. So depending upon that, we have different seasons. And at the same time, the climate of the world is also divided into different regions, or we have different climatic conditions in the world. And the climatic condition which we India face is that the climate of India is described as something known as this monsoon type of climate. Hope you must have heard this word monsoon, or you might have heard this in your lower standards, maybe in your 7th or 6th standard. You might have learned this word known as monsoon. Monsoon is the Indian climatic condition, or you can say the climate of India is described as monsoon type. And what is this monsoon? Monsoon is actually a Arabic word. And what is that Arabic word? It is mausim. And the meaning of this mausim, it is literally something known as this season. So in detail we will see about this monsoon season which is present in India, and we will also discuss what factors will decide the climate of any place. As we have just now discussed that there are different climatic regions in different parts of the world, and I have mentioned that it is monsoon type of climate which is being followed in India. But not only in India, this monsoon type of climate is also found in the south and southeastern part of this Asia. That means not only in India, those countries which are located in southeastern and southern part of Asia, they also experience this monsoon type of climate. And but here there is something. What is that? Is that there are some regional variations in climatic conditions of the country. That means though we Indians follow this monsoon type of climate, but here again there are some regional variations. That means depending upon the place, the climate is there. Suppose some parts of the country there may be more temperature, at the same time in other parts there may be lesser temperature. So like this there are some variations in the climate. So that is what here says. There are some regional variations in climatic conditions within the country, mainly on two important elements. What are those two important elements of that? One is temperature and the other one is this precipitation. So what do you mean by this temperature? Temperature means basically it is the degree of hotness and coldness of the atmosphere. We call it as this temperature. And this precipitation means you can say different forms of condensation. We call it as this precipitation. So based on these two elements, temperature and precipitation, we can find a lot of variations within the country. For example, here you take the temperature in the summer season in two different places. That is, one is this Rajasthan and the other one is this Jammu and Kashmir. So during the summer season in Rajasthan, the temperature almost touches 50 degrees Celsius, and in the same India, that means in the same country, if we can see the Jammu and Kashmir, here you can find it is only 20 degrees Celsius. And during this winter season, again if you see in the Jammu and Kashmir, the temperature sometimes it might go even very lesser than almost minus 45 degrees. And in Thiruvananthapuram, at the same winter time in India, the temperature may be 22 degrees Celsius. So what is happening here? Within the same country, though we have this monsoon type of climate, but we have some variations within the climate. So that is mainly in temperature, and the other one is this precipitation. So how this precipitation occurs? You can say it may occur in the form of snowfall, rain, hailstorm, dew, or you can say etc etc. But mostly this precipitation, it occurs in the form of snowfall in the upper parts of Himalayas. That means in the higher regions of the Himalayas, we can find the precipitation in the form of snowfall. But in the remaining parts of the country, except in Himalayas, in the other places of the country, the precipitation mainly takes place in the form of rain. And this rain covers the rest of the country in different regions with different amounts of rainfall. For example, if you take this Meghalaya, it receives one of the highest rainfall ever in the country, which is almost equal to this 400 centimeters. And when it comes to the western part of the Rajasthan, that means the area where this Thar desert is there, and at the same time the Ladakh region, you can find the rainfall very less, such as almost equal to 10 centimeters or even lesser than that. So that means what we can understand is that there are some variations within the country, though we follow the same type of climate, depending upon this temperature as well as this precipitation in different parts of this country. Again, just now as I have mentioned, there are some variations within the country, and when we take this rainfall, there are some places, or you can say most parts of the country, they receive rainfall during these months from June to September. That means during the starting of the monsoon season, most of the regions in the country, they receive rainfall in these months from June to September. But there are some regions where, like Tamil Nadu, they receive rainfall mainly during the months of October and November. And the reason is that during this monsoon time, that means in the months of June to September, the monsoon winds blow from southwest direction, and when they return back again, they carry some kind of rainfall which is mainly precipitated in the coastal regions such as Tamil Nadu. So because of that, in the months of October and November, the states such as Tamil Nadu and some coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh also receive more amount of rainfall during these months such as October and November. And the coastal areas, basically the coastal areas experience less contrast in the temperature conditions. That means whatever the coastal areas which are located near to the oceans, they experience less variations in the temperature conditions, no matter which season is that. It may be summer, winter, or a rainy season, but the temperatures will be with a little variation compared to the interior parts of the country. That means suppose in summer, if you take this place known as Kanyakumari, the temperature may be somewhere around 30 or more than 30 degrees, and during winter also it may be somewhere around 28, 25, 26. That means you cannot find much variation in the temperatures as well as in the rainfall within these coastal areas. But in the interior, that means inside of the country, we can find a lot of variations in the temperature as well as precipitation. So this, we have discussed about this climate, weather, and which type of climate that India follows. Next we will discuss, in the next topic we will discuss about the factors responsible for the climatic conditions.